Good morning, good
Good
afternoon,
morning.
and good evening, everyone, wherever you are at this time you're watching this video. Hi, Larry, how are you?
It is great. It is great to be down here in Georgia visiting with you and Pamela and all the people we met yesterday. It was
Yeah,
wonderful.
we had a great time, great discussions, and we thought we're going to record a little video talking about an event that we hosted yesterday. We had a grace healing
Hmm.
event where we had about eight, nine people with us and just had general discussions. But what I want to focus on, maybe, Larry, if you agree, is what came to mind for me is the human connection face to
Oh,
face.
yes.
Nowadays we are so entrenched in computers, in
Hmm.
phones, in AI, and communicating through technology, and then forgetting to communicate face to face.
Yeah.
So when we met, at the beginning, there's always a warm-up period, right? Where
Hmm.
you don't know who is in the room, and then all of a sudden it gels and the information and the connection happens. That's what my perception was, and it
Yes.
was really beautiful to see. So I think there's an encouragement for me to know that I want to do more of that,
Agreed.
more of this connection.
Yeah.
So
And you had mentioned something about like we were doing drops of wisdom.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
setting up a daily forum or a weekly forum for
Yep.
people to actually engage and connect and then record it and make that available for
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah, I started a meetup group, on meetup.com called Drops of Wisdom, essential conversations for body, mind, and spirit, which encapsulates really anything that we want to talk about. And the
yeah.
spiritual discussion we had yesterday is one part. I'm also a laughter yoga teacher, and I want to do a laughter yoga session in that
Hmm.
context,
Yeah.
which is also human connection, right? So there's so many angles that
Yes,
we can
most
go
definitely.
at.
Well, backing up to what you were just saying a few minutes ago is one of the things that I'm seeing rise more in people now is now that they're being released from the intensity or severity of the whole COVID lockdown and different things like that, people developed a habit of just finding an answer without connecting.
Hmm.
But there's a hunger rising within people that they want to connect. They want to come in front of people. They want to be sitting there. They want to be able to connect with people. And in that, it was a beautiful example yesterday where we were surrounded by people that were absolutely loving. And you could see an anticipatory look in their eyes that something was going to happen
Hmm.
in them. I mean, whether you watched April's eyes light up or Emily present just there to give and extend love, as these people were present in this room, and then others in anticipatory observation of what could they share, and then different comments coming up, and you could see them rising through the process of the event. Now that's not anything new, but there's a different level of hunger I think that's happening right now because people are coming out of this like bunkered in, locked down kind of mode of having to comply into this place that no, I want to seek, I want to reach, I want to connect, I want to
Yeah.
be a part of things. And so, and as you know, and you witnessed, the dialogue formed in a way that it came from multiple offerings. It wasn't just me sitting in the room as the author or the meet and greet or whatever. It was just, it came from you, it came from others, it came from this. And it was just nice to hear how people are already in that place of spiritual seeking
Yeah.
and have incredible spiritual offerings within themselves as well.
And I think what we forget is maybe we have forgotten to know that when we have a conversation, it's a dialogue. It's what the other person may say can trigger
Yeah, exactly.
a response or a new knowing,
Yep.
that a computer can't do necessarily.
Yep.
And I think I saw that yesterday. As I mentioned at the beginning, we got together, we don't know each other, or we know some of the people. You didn't know anybody that was there really well. Your
Well, no, my
sister,
sister
yeah, of
Pamela.
course.
Yeah, that would be
Uh,
it. So,
and then all of a sudden, by also having a discussion and giving input and
yeah.
asking questions, even more questions will come up and more knowledge, right?
Yes. And it was beautiful to see. I mean, like I mentioned this, and you and I have talked about this before, is understanding the fractal nature of our form, that we come of the source of God, but each of us is a fractal expression of the origin of God's presence. So whether this person is saying these words or you're saying these words, it all seems to be in that desire to connect and that cohesiveness of understanding,
Hmm.
that desire to evidence truth, that desire to reveal God's presence, and the conversations that come of it are beautiful. I mean, and to those that are observing that weren't speaking, you could see them just become a part of it and like, wow, that makes so much sense to me. And you could see their eyes open up. Or another one that was drawing down, saying, I really need to be present. And you could see them in a self-governing way
Yeah.
being poised for whatever was going to emerge instead of just going numb like society or situations that we're facing right now
Yeah.
is making people do.
Yeah.
They're numbing out to what's going on or they're overloaded by the stuff that's happening. So having that safe ground to be prayerfully connected with one another, to be sharing the higher expressions and views, or even taking even a like one point that there was the comment about politicism, political realm and stuff like that. It's like, okay, let's move that to a place. What can this do to elevate my not how do I get stuck in the mire of talking about the trash? What do we do to move into a higher state and sharing that as a group? You could see people just perking up and wow, I never thought of it that way, and just coming to be a part of this shared escalation instead of degradation into what society is doing.
And that's because we got used to looking at Facebook posts or
Oh yeah,
social media posts, which always represent one side of one opinion in
exactly.
a very strong fashion.
Yep,
And then all of a sudden you watch something else that's from the other side and you don't have any partner to talk about
exactly.
with, right?
No place to process.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yep,
So at the meeting that we did yesterday, we set this up under the topic of um, grace healing, obviously,
yes,
and under the topic of your book
yep.
that came to you and that we presented, and a couple of people also were able to purchase.
A covenant in love, if in case you're wondering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and can we just kind of maybe go into just a couple of the topics that we talked about and how maybe from your perspective, how you, because you always say things come up, right? When
Hmm.
we go into these kind of meetings, you don't necessarily know where is it going to go, what are the
Right.
topics that come up, it flows. Can you maybe give us an idea how this evolves from your perspective?
Well, like what you said, which what are we going to talk about before we even got there? And I was like, well, I don't know. It'll just, I would rather surrender to be nothing to allow for the presence of God to rise upon my tongue or to be present to quiet my tongue so that that person over there brings forth the thought that the group needs that
Hmm.
might not have been present in my thought or awareness. So it is about trusting and moving into a place that, and to some people that can be tough because they're not trusting a person's possibility of judging them or
Hmm.
feeling like they're under critical review or something like that. There is a place to trust that, nope, God, I surrender my tongue for your use, yet I poise my ears to hear your presence through the voice of others.
Hmm.
And we were talking about that at one point about the importance of recognizing that fractal expression of God, not just coming out of my mouth or our mouths, but that individual has something to offer. And finding a way to bring them out to share what they're holding. Because many people quiet in settings, they don't want to talk. They
Hmm.
don't want to be the voice in the room. But if you can draw them out, all of a sudden they're shocked that they were able to participate at a level higher than they thought they knew in themselves. Because God is moving through them in what you would call the gift of tongues, but it happens to be coming out in English.
Hmm.
And they're sharing something that's beyond their knowledge and wisdom, and they find that, wow, that is a truth that I believe. So there is in those group settings that trust entering in that is trust in God, not the group, and that God will bless the group and guide you to speak in the right order and the right time. Then the subject matter emerges that is God's and not the one I pre-constructed.
And that's how conversation should be in general, right? Even one to
I
one.
think so, yeah. I mean, I know that in our life experience, in our physical experience within this realm, sometimes there are issues that need to be dealt with, or there's, oversights or offenses that have occurred, and people are approaching a meeting with a specific objective that, well, I'd really like to hear this person say, ask for forgiveness, or I want to present forgiveness for the mistake I made. So there's going to be that agenda form in the heart, but we can even trust God to bring that forward in right timing because the
Hmm.
person might not be ready to receive your offering of forgiveness until they've been heard.
Hmm.
Even if you're extending your request for forgiveness, they may need to be heard first. So again, it's back into that trust. Okay, God, I trust you, not the event.
Hmm.
God, I trust you, not the group. And I surrender my tongue for your use again, so that I would be governed in a way that brings greatest blessing in this result. So you engage, you're in conversation, the person feels they've been heard, then you say, well, listen, I really want to seek forgiveness for the mistake I made. They can receive it then after they've been heard. So it's timing in that, and that's trusting in God to know to be moved in a godly way instead of my desire is to seek forgiveness. So even that could be balanced and ordered in a form of trust in God.
While nowadays we don't really focus on God, we focus on technique.
Yeah.
We,
Or technology.
yeah,
Tech,
exactly.
tech, tech, technique,
Yeah,
technology.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
What course could I do to learn proper conversation in business or in personal relationships? What can I
Yep.
learn? And we sign up for all sorts of
Hmm.
curriculum, to learn that, but that may not be necessary.
Well, I've learned like over these last, I would say, really 30, more than 30 years, 35 years, where I've been serving people through being in spiritual counsel and listening to what they're offering. I find that the amount of time I spend talking with them now is almost minuscule compared to what it was within the beginning. And
Mm. Hmm.
because that person not only needs to be heard for what their need is, but they need to be heard and seen for what they have to offer. And
Hmm.
so there's more listening in the prayer calls when I'm serving people. There's more, help me understand more of what you're saying. Help me to understand how you came to this thought. Help me understand what moved you in this direction. So there's more time spent in that. And then I can see what they're evidencing or how they might have been compelled through the subconscious instead of their conscious decision. How did the subconscious divert it away from the state of blessing that they were looking for? So there is that poised listening. And I mentioned a couple times at the meeting yesterday where I was hoping that others would bring forth their thoughts because it allows you into that place where you can listen for God's voice within them. And it expands the depth and breadth of the conversation, not just what I have to present,
Yeah.
but what can their presence do to refine what is being offered in a way that they can receive it at a better level.
And I think a lot of it has also to do with getting to know each other first.
Yep.
So if we have a meeting, like a one-time meeting like we had yesterday, we had 1.5 hours together, right? But
Yes.
it's kind of limited, but you could see after 1.5 hours, there was almost a camaraderie
Yep.
happening. People would start talking. We would stay around for another hour, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
eat
Exactly.
fruit and chit chat.
Yep.
So the point is that sometimes, the more you come together with the same people in
Yep.
a group and spend time having conversations, the more fruitful it becomes too.
Agreed.
So, and I think with Grace Healing, where we do the 8 o'clock prayer meditation meeting on Wednesday
Yep.
nights, we're typically the same people plus,
Hmm.
but we get to know each other, and I think that has an impact as
It
well.
does.
You know,
Yep.
even if we don't talk much, if it's you praying,
Hmm.
like because we listen in a different way because we are one community.
Yeah. And there's a coming together and a recognition of being one.
Yeah.
And I think that, as you and I look back over these past few years, that's what's I believe has kind of happened in society is it's become fragmented, not fractal.
Mm.
Fractal still holds its connection to source. Fragmented is disjointed, removed, separated, isolated. It's like so broken into fragments is different to being connected in a way that you're still tied to the whole, yet moving as an individual. And I think that place that I mean, I don't know, you mentioned something about you're seeing an awakening down here, people really reaching for that connection. More people are heading to parks than they did before. People are drawing into nature. And then there's also the other side of the coin. Then they return and immediately immerse themselves back into that technology input. And the fact, jokingly, I talk about something in the car, and then you come home and open your Facebook, and all of a sudden, everything we were talking about is there as an advertisement to
Yeah.
sell you on
Yeah. Yeah.
things. And it's nice to be able to just set that phone aside, to just be able to set the laptop aside, which is one of the things that I love about this time and traveling is, I'm not responsible to having to respond to business needs because they know I'm out of state.
Hmm.
And then also the prayer needs that have people have. They have found that they're in that prayer, but they're requesting for, oh, when you return. So it's bought me this buffer zone to just be present
Yeah.
for the sake of the crowd that we engaged with and
Yeah.
different things
You
like
know, I
that.
find that thought you just shared with fragmented versus
Fractal.
fractal. I find that interesting. What came to mind for me is fragmented. If you take a mirror and you drop it on the ground,
Smash, broken.
it smash. It's all these fragments
Yeah.
all over the floor, and you got to glue it back together. But if you take a crystal and you put the light through it, and it breaks
It
into
forms fractal.
fractal,
Yeah.
right? Which is still coming from one source, an
Yeah.
undamaged source, right? And
Exactly.
and I guess that's what be.
Yeah. And there's beauty in it. Because I mean, think about that same image. Let's say you broke the mirror, yet you had the skills to reassemble it as a kaleidoscope.
Hmm.
There's beauty in the image of looking through this kaleidoscope in a new form. It's no longer just a mirror now. It's this wonder of different angles and imagery catching the colors off the inside of the kaleidoscope through
So
this.
even if it's broken, it
Yeah,
can be fixed and can be made more
exactly.
beautiful.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yep. It's beautiful to think about the reality that we are not broken in our separation from God. We are one.
Bless
Excuse me.
you.
We are one in God. And in that, if we are joined back together in this wonderful expression of melding the colors, the reflective nature, the way that this image is received, or that color is picked off of on the inside of the kaleidoscope tube and then magnified through the different colors that are in the glass that there, I mean, that could be a wonderful dialogue, but I also believe that we need to be careful because people have become so accustomed to being alone and isolated that they're
Hmm.
not willing to expose themselves to groups engagement, or
Hmm.
they're fearful of what that may produce in a simple hug.
Hmm.
Well, if I hug somebody, is it going to slough off onto me, or am I going to be exposed to this?
Mm.
That comes back to the trust factor. God, I thank you that you guide me with the wisdom to care for my body in a proper way so that I can be fully present for your use when I'm in the group. So moving people to that awareness that's above themselves.
Very good. Yeah. So what else about the meeting that you perceived or you want to share?
Well, I mean, I would speak to personal notes, but I don't want to get into that
Yeah.
because I mean, I saw the way certain people shared, or like, for instance, like, we know openly that there are a couple of people that were very uncomfortable with their religious upbringing,
Hmm.
yet they have a hunger to reconnect with God. They want to awaken their spiritual connection, not be governed by how they were divined religiously, I mean, how they were defined religiously. So, it's coming back to the divining process of my spiritual journey as one with God instead of how I was directed to be this way under my religious instruction. And to see people that are like hopeful and expectant, opening up that no, I understand what I was brought up in, but I know there's something bigger. And I want that, so
Hmm.
you see them reaching for that higher state of being, and that's beautiful to see when it comes up. Not that they were so hurt that they shut down completely. They
Hmm.
have a desire towards source, that beginning of the fractal form, instead of being fragmented, broken, and hidden off in a corner underneath a cabinet where the mirror broke and slid underneath and nobody knows it's hidden there
Yeah.
anymore. It was broken from the whole. And no, I believe that we have that constant presence of God within us to return to. Yeshua said, the kingdom resides within. So no matter where you are within your journey, whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're going through, remember that you are that portal to return to God. Shed the things that have defined you that aren't of truth. Shed the things that make you think of anything less than who you are yourself, and embrace God within. No, not seeking self, but looking in to discover God to reveal the truth of self without veils you might be holding within. So it was nice to see as that meeting unfolded, there were a couple people that all of a sudden were able to present their feelings and thoughts.
Hmm.
They were actually able to find that, no, I can voice this. here.
Hmm.
Now, in my religious upbringing, I couldn't say what I'm thinking.
Hmm.
Now I can say it.
Yeah.
So if we're coming with an open heart and a trust in God first and a presence for one another, then you will find people opening and sharing more, and they will find that connected tie quicker than it would be in a normal social environment.
So, and we have with Grace Healing, you and I, we have talked a lot about, getting together more in person. And I know way back you have done a lot of meetings where
Yes.
you would
Yep.
have a lot of people in a room,
Yep.
and that those dynamics, I personally think would be nice to bring back
Oh
into
yeah,
into Grace
definitely.
Healing as well. So we hope that we can achieve that. I don't know
Oh
how,
yes. Yep.
but I
Well, we
mean,
do know the how, and that is God within us.
mhm,
Now we got to see how it is formulated, structured, and how we enter into responsibilities that will bring it
yeah.
into fruition. And I have trust that again, with the way that humanity is beginning to wake up and the way that humanity is beginning to realize that, we were forced into a shut-in space. I'm not choosing to accept that anymore. I am embracing the prayer of life. I'm not fearful of death. I am life within. And we start to ascend and come back into this place where
Yeah.
we have personal authority, personal focus, and realize that those outside do not govern me and define me. I am my own individual and my
Hmm.
spiritual journey and my opportunity to connect with others.
Yeah. Good. Well, I want to wrap this up in just a minute, but what I want to say is this. So there is definitely a stream of consciousness that we want to do something where we can have people come
Yes.
together more in
Yep.
person. And what I want to do here, I'm in Savannah, you're in Maine.
Yep.
Other people are all over with
Yep.
Grace Healing, right? What I want to do here, what I commit to here in Savannah is with that drop of wisdom organization, meetup, to have more of these discussions. And some of them we still have to do via Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately or fortunately, with Zoom, you have a bigger reach, you can
Yep.
bring the people in, but maybe we have opportunities to draw more people to come physically to meet and really engage into real conversation,
Exactly. Yep.
essential conversations
Yep.
again. And what I want to do is to have more of these Zoom conversations. When you're in Maine and I'm here,
Yep.
that we can bring into that group
Agreed.
and,
Yep.
and other groups going forward. So,
Well, I think in that respect, that's available to us. And I mean, even Yeshua said that all things in moderation, this tool is a phenomenal tool
yeah,
that bridges that gap.
yeah.
But what's happening is people are losing that balance of understanding that I'm using the tool or the tool is using me. Is it turning around to the point where all of a sudden everything I'm doing, it's trying to sell me, 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 instead of no, I just want to engage, see the communication process with others. Now I'm away from it.
Yeah.
I find this time to breathe and center upon God's presence. I'm choosing to breathe instead of get wrapped up in the reels and the dialogue and all the drama that's going on that 90% of the time, I would guess, is probably not even real,
Yeah.
you know? And then, it's like one simple comment can be taken by so many perceptions, and all of a sudden there's false drama that came from the original comment that has nothing to do with it. And it's like telephone times 1,000,
Yeah. Yeah.
By the time you get to the final point of the conversation, nobody has any idea what started the conversation.
Yeah.
And I believe that that comes back to connection. If we're sitting in a Zoom, like you and I do often when we engage in the Zooms, is there is a conscious awareness that it is God first. Now let's engage with one another. When we get engage on Wednesdays, it is centered first upon the living reality of God's presence within, and then we center in. Or we have another call that's available to people that is dealing with people with extremely heightened needs that we can connect people to if they're interested to it, but that's on Mondays.
Mhm.
And that's a different call, but it is still centered first upon God and then bringing forward hypersensitive issues dealing with mental instabilities and stuff that go on in people. So there is a recognition that it's God first. So then everything we're weighing and measuring in thought with one another is understood that we're going to share content back with you based upon what you're sharing that will elevate your understanding, not just meet you in the drama. So it is important that we allow these tools to be utilized in a way that brings blessing instead of consuming us. So all
Yeah.
things in moderation, if that makes sense.
Perfect. So I want to thank for those that attended yesterday
Yeah, it was a blessing.
for being there. It was truly very memorable, and it was a blessing indeed. And Larry for coming down and being with us. And I look forward to doing
Yes,
more
most
together in
definitely.
that
So
respect.
again, gracehealing.org. A Covenant of Love is available on Amazon, and people are, I mean, even we had one that she just walks around with the book all the time. I mean, she was
Yeah,
walking into a
yeah,
business meeting and
yeah,
carrying her
yeah.
Covenant of Love with her. So it's like, that's pretty amazing. That's awesome. So just immerse yourself in the tools that will elevate and deepen your connection with God as you have to deal with these things of the world. Support yourself on your spiritual journey. Don't just let the world govern what direction or course you're taking.
Well said.
Awesome.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon again.
Love and blessings on your day. Take care.
Bye.